Porter Robinson's an artist who I'd pretty much not listened to at all until this album came out. I know a lot of people who love him, and I've been meaning to check him out for the longest time, but meh, here's the list. One day though, my buddy tells me that he has a new album out that's really great, and given track titles like Knock Yourself Out XD and Perfect Pinterest Garden, not to mention the title of the album having an emoticon, I'm thinking I'm in for some weird electronic bliss. I mean, this is Porter Robinson. This guy does like EDM music, right? Why should you keep letting yourself be let down? Man, what the hell is this? Not saying it's bad or anything, it just really wasn't what I was expecting. Like taking a sip of orange juice when you thought the cup had lean in it. Hell, I didn't even know it was gonna have vocals. That's how much I was sleeping on him. After listening to it a good handful more times though, I can say that Smile is absolutely perfect. Despite being in a completely different genre from his previous work, this feels like an album that only he could have made. I'm a pretty casual fan when it comes to indie-tronica. Hell, my favorite album in the genre before this one was about My Little Pony. Don't let that stop you though, it's actually good. But the perspective Porter brings to this album just puts everything about it in a whole new light. This guy made it as an EDM producer before he was old enough to drink, and became a very respected artist in the world of electronic music at large. Smile is a reflection on the growing pains he's gone through to become the person he is now, and the change in genre amplifies this beautifully. I went back and listened to his other two albums, Worlds and Nurture, and yeah, he's officially one of my favorite artists now. While Worlds is a little out of my element, I'd say it's easily a cut above most EDM that I've heard from around that time, with its creative uses of samples and how pretty all of it is. Nurture, though, is absolutely beautiful. Oh my god. One of my friends described it as an EDM-coded Studio Ghibli soundtrack, and it fully lives up to that description. The way these anthemic songs unfold into these blissful instrumental tracks is thoroughly captivating, and the feminine vocals add a lot to the emotion and whimsy. On Smile, though, Porter is working with more conventional song structures and a more nostalgic instrumental palette, without sacrificing the outstanding production he's known for. These songs are also much more personal and revealing, straying away from the vocal effects that were all over his previous work, to make it feel more real and intimate. Knock Yourself Out and Cheerleader are two killer singles that start the album off and take you back to the hallways of your high school, dreaming of becoming as big as Taylor Swift and flirting with the girl that draws you kissing other guys. These songs also explore themes of how Porter's life has changed since becoming such a prominent figure, like losing connections with people in his life, as well as himself. This is brought to an apex on the album's centerpiece, Russian Roulette, which is an emotional rollercoaster of a track fitting to its title. It explores Porter's brightest and darkest moments, using Russian Roulette as a metaphor for releasing his art out into the world and not knowing how it's going to be received or how the reception is going to impact him. The extreme high that he feels from Pitchfork calling him the big new thing when they've been known to dish out some harsh reviews in the past can only take him as far as the extreme lows in his personal life. He ultimately confronts his demons and chooses life by the end of the song, learning to take the bad with the good. It's genuinely one of the best songs that I've heard about the emotional impact of being in the public eye and how others' perception shapes the way you view yourself. The longest song is then followed by the shortest song, Perfect Pinterest Garden, which is a very funky and to-the-point track about overeager fans who've formed a parasocial relationship with him, and how he wants them to shut the f*** up, but doesn't want to be a dick. I've heard a lot of people say this is their least favorite on the album, and I definitely understand why, especially coming after the bombshell that was Russian Roulette, but I think there was no better way to tackle this topic than with a 2.5-minute indie rock joint that almost sounds like a 1975 song. It has one of my favorite hooks on the album too. It also perfectly sets up my absolute favorite on the record, Year of the Cup, which is basically him reflecting on all of the times that he did what he was trying not to do on the last song. There was a point in his career when he was unsatisfied with the rave audience he was attracting at his live shows, and he regrets the way that he acted towards the very people that gave him a career.
This is supposed to be pretty. Rave somewhere else.
Each verse is broken up by a clip from this Lil Wayne interview where he talks about being addicted to lean during a year where he saw more commercial success than ever before.
When people drink alcohol, they react like they've been drinking alcohol. So whatever the hell was in my cup, the only reaction I did was got more popular, more successful, did a lot more things that I've ever done. He won 4 Grammys. The Year of the Cup. Did you? No. What the hell was in his cup? Whatever he was drinking must be a motherfucking success potion.
The parallels between this and Porter's own destructive behavior, ultimately leading him to a more successful outcome, gives a lot more weight to the verses, especially with how he gradually learns to reconcile.
Yeah, I kind of put the cup down for a minute, but ain't nothing in the cup right now but some wine.
It's a bittersweet waltz backed by an unplugged electric guitar that gives it more of an emo pop flavor, and has become a go-to every morning after I get too drunk and embarrass myself. It also has one of my favorite music videos I've seen in a while, with the VHS aesthetic fitting the song's warm production and personal lyrics. Shout out to the crew that put it together. Kitsune Mason Freestyle is maybe the track I get the least. Hell, I didn't even know what Kitsune Mason was until after I heard this song, but I think it's about getting caught up in the validation of others via materialistic wealth rather than doing what feels right to you. We're all just trying to look good and not feel bad so that confidence can be faked more easily on the outside, even if it feels wrong on the inside. In promotion for this single, Porter actually gave away over 100 pieces of designer clothing from his own closet, and chose which clothes he gave who based on vibes. So if anyone watching got one, then please leave a comment letting me know what it smells like. This is a pretty catchy and swagged out song for the most part. I mean, hell, the word freestyle being in the title immediately gives it a more laid back tone. But at the end, he pulls back the veil and just lets it all out.
I got my teeth fixed. I regret it so much, man. I can't get the teeth that my mom gave me back.
If that got you misty-eyed though, then you are not ready for the next track. Easier to Love You sees Porter taking a look at his current self from the perspective of his younger self, and using it as a way to reset his mind state into something more positive. He brings back some of the vocal effects that he's known for, only now they're being used to illustrate his voice at a younger age.
I can't shake the feeling that I'll be happy by the time I'm him.
The song also has a fantastic music video animated in stop motion, directed by Tomoyasu Murata, so check that out if you like this track. Mona Lisa is the iconic boy and girl duet song that every great indie-tronica band has, except there's actually 3 vocalists on it, so it's not really a duet. This is the first time I'd ever heard of Frost Children, but they've really been on the come up this year between this, an awesome single with Danny Brown, and a pretty solid EP with Haru Nemori. They've been taking hyperpop in this heavier indie rock direction, and their sound meshes beautifully on this track. Porter brings out the androgynous vocal effects again, and they sound really good next to Angel and Lulu Frost, especially on this breakdown near the end. Is There Really No Happiness is maybe the most straightforward and catchy song on the entire album, and is also one of the most streamed despite not being released as a single or having a music video. Thematically, it's pretty similar to Easier to Love You and how he talks to his previous self, only this one's more about overdosing on nostalgia, which I'm definitely guilty of. Porter's heavenly synth work translates better to a pop song here than on maybe any other track I've heard from him, and it's maybe my favorite example of the marriage of aesthetics he was going for with this album.
One of the reasons I think the Warped Tour, MySpace, scene-y electro pop era appealed to me so much is because it felt like what I'm doing in reverse, right? I'm this electronic music person that's making rock music, or trying to for the first time. And I think a lot of that MySpacey scene emo runoff was people who were in these Warped Tour bands trying to make electronic music for the first time. Even Skrillex was that.
It all wraps up with Everything to Me, which is a slow and meditative ballad about how much he loves his fans and performing despite all of the growing pains in his career. It's not really a song I'd come back to much on its own, but as a closer, I think it frames the album's themes in this optimistic light that's fitting to the title. Overall, Smile is really just everything I needed to hear in my life right now. I just moved to a new city, I'm struggling to find the motivation to keep doing a lot of the things that I liked to do before, but I'm finding new ways to do so, and this is pretty much soundtracked exactly how I felt over the last few months. I missed his tour when it was near me, but I heard it was a really great show, and one of my friends got this cool video. If any of you are watching from around the world, then don't miss it like I did. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully it doesn't take me another 5 months to make a video that doesn't even break 10 minutes, but you never know. As always, if you enjoyed, you know the drill.